You're welcome. I'm Charles Aite. Dark days ahead for gas prices. Global oil prices have exceeded $100 per barrel, and already avenues for renewables as a substitute are less viable. To help us appreciate what we must look out for as a consumer here in Ghana is petroleum expert Dr. Sulemana Yusuf. We're grateful that you could join us. Paint us a vivid picture of how things are faring on the global market.
Yeah, thank you very much, Charles, and good afternoon to you and your cherished viewers in Ghana and across the globe. Yeah, so from the global perspective, it's something that is not one of an interesting development, because as we speak now, just before even the Russian crisis, I think the oil prices came close to 100. It was 97. And so this crisis just came to exacerbate the situation. But globally, what was the phenomenon, or what was the outlook like before the Russian crisis? Actually, we have a reduced investment into the world of hydrocarbon, as we always been saying. After the COVID, I think investment to the upstream actually hasn't come back to the normal footing where it is supposed to be. And this has also resulted in the fact that shale patch in US, who used to be a credible counterbalancing force that could, nullify OPEC dominance in terms of how much prices they can set. They also don't have access to it because they are pursuing what you call capital discipline, and they're interested in returning profit to the shareholders. And also we have OPEC cut that is still in place. Albeit OPEC cut is gradually looking not a credible factor that could impact oil price, because just yesterday they met again. And what came out was the fact that they are sticking to the supply cap, even when the upstream is burning and burning seriously. So what is a fact is what is factual is that, I mean, even OPEC, whatever they have asked, whatever they've agreed to release into the global basket, in fact, they have not been able to meet that. Russia, as a significant player or a lead member of OPEC Plus, or in fact, they are the de facto leaders of OPEC, they haven't been able to meet even their production target, whatever they can release into the global basket for the last 3 months. And all these are, picture of the fact that, yes, supply is gradually trying to catch up with demand. I mean, but it's not yet there. I mean, we are not yet there yet. So demand is, the gap between demand and supply is getting wider and wider. And that is not a good picture globally. And so what will have counterbalanced this would have been massive investment into the world of hydrocarbon, and as well as maybe some bit of renewables. So when hydrocarbon side is getting heated up, we can have a second resource, which is the renewable. But that is not something sustainable. Now coming back to detailed, the Russian crisis. Yeah. So as we speak now, Charles, sanctions have not been placed on the entire on the energy sector on Russia directly. Yet we are having oil price around 115. But the situation is, because of these sanctions that are placed on some banks, and also the fact that some of the banks have been taken off from SWIFT, which is quite significant. And so what we are seeing now is an indirect impact of this kind of sanctions on Russia. And so we haven't direct impact yet. That's why we are a bit, I'm saying that the global picture is not a very brighter one. Hopefully, the best thing is that cool heads will prevail. If cool heads will prevail. If that happens, have a grip of what the outlook is going to be like. Otherwise, the longer this conflict prolong and persists, the worse the situation could become.
But Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, it also begs the question, why can renewables substitute the demand?
That's an excellent one. That's what everybody would have wished at this moment. But there's something that we don't have to hide away from. I think our approach for this energy transition has been very problematic from day one. And I've mentioned that, I think at this stage, we have to invest into what we call R&D, research and development into the world of renewable, so that we can have breakthrough technologies that can deliver renewable energy to the end user at competitive rates. Our problem is renewable at this stage is not a credible replacement for hydrocarbon. And why am I saying that? When I say credible replacement, a replacement that is dependable, a replacement that is available, and a replacement that is affordable. If we take all these three things I talked about, none of them is working to the favor of renewables. Renewables are not that dependable as we speak. UK or the Europe, well of European Union, I mean the European Union or the Europe in general, who are the forefront or the champions of renewable energy, you can see the vulnerabilities as a result of this Russian crisis. Europe cannot place sanctions on Russian energy sector, not because of Russia. It's because of their own consumers. They cannot just do that, because if they do that, Russia begin to even also retaliate by cutting gas supply. that is going to be serious for them.
You have been dealing with the numbers for quite a while now, examining the trends in the oil market. What will be the effect in Ghana, and how can it be remedied?
Yeah, the effect is straight and direct. We're going to have high pump prices. There's no two ways about that. And even minus Russian prices, I told you that the trend has been that. I mean, we had a lot of bullish sentiments that is taking over the market as compared to the bearish sentiment. Yeah. So, but the Russian price just making the situation worse. So in Ghana, what do we have to do? I mean, a couple of things which I mentioned, and I'll just repeat them again. I mean, we cannot continue to depend on external factors to guarantee us our energy security. We cannot do that. But when oil prices are going up, of course, upstream we stand a better chance of gaining, and that's undoubtedly. So can't we work out a strategy whereby any potential windfalls, which we do have at the moment, we can cascade it to the downstream side to cool down the pumps. Because at the end of the day, it's not the energy sector is not a segregated entity where upstream is different place and downstream is different place. You can be making gains at the upstream, but if you don't manage it well at the downstream, everything will fizzle. And that's what is happening with goods and services going so high. So yes, there are going to be trade-offs, and the trade-offs are that the government has to give out something. Is it going to be in the form of taxes? Is it going to be in the form of this windfall that I talked about? That has to be done. Something has to be done immediately. If not that, I think we're going to see hard times coming before we can get cool things coming. The second and most important one is refining capability, Charles. Very important. If you manage to have a local robust refining capability, the kind of dollars, the hard currency we put on the pressure we put on the CD, where the CD is struggling to survive in this hard time, I think it will minimize. I'm not saying refining will bring down the cost of product, but it will stabilize. This kind of volatility that we have, I mean, that local refining will help, stabilize those kind of things that we have.
Speaking about the need for governments to intervene, we do know that government has hinted on opening cabinet discussions over a possible relief for consumers in the form of subsidies. How sustainable can this be?
Yeah, so immediate effect, I think that's a good thing to do. It's a good call. But how much more subsidy are we going to keep releasing? These are short-term measures, which is needed. Undoubtedly, we need it, Charles. We just need it to pull down the downstream. All right. But remember, we don't have to take ourselves back to the price control era and situation whereby we don't have deregulation. I think deregulation has done a fantastic job for us. However, there have been some shortfalls within deregulation, especially the massive taxes that we have placed on the price buildup that has paralyzed deregulation. I'm not saying that we should castigate deregulation and put it into the bucket and throw it away. No.
All right.
Deregulation has helped the downstream. It's the one that is contributing to about 6% of our GDP at the downstream side, which is phenomenal. So yes, subsidies are very good at this moment. Government should work out a credible strategy where we can use the balance and cool down the pumps so that the consumer can get some breathing space. That will help a lot. I mean, it will help the entire economy of the nation. Yeah.
Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, we're grateful. Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, petroleum expert, there helping us appreciate his assessment of global events related to crude and the need for governments to intervene.